Hey everyone again. Hi team. Once again, my name is Perry, and I want to talk a little bit about just kind of the discernment and the role and all that stuff in the midst of my call. I came to faith, and I'm not going to go into my testimony, but I came to faith when I was 17 years old. I had a very strong liking to public speaking. I was the goofy kid, the loud kid, and wanted to funnel that into something purposeful as I gave my life to Jesus. And so my beginning journey of my call was specifically just to talk about God. And it didn't mean like preaching. I didn't have a ton of context. I just knew that I wanted to publicly speak about Jesus, and I liked doing that, and I was passionate about that. And then that kind of evolved into reflecting on how I wanted to connect that to some kind of youth connection. And so I had various different experiences of combining both relational youth ministry and walking with students and walking with volunteers, and at the same time being able to preach the gospel and preach in many different forms about scriptures and just life. And so that was the beginning of my call, was just specifically to talk about who God is in a public space. And then I learned that it was so much more than just preaching. It was pastoral. And so that was my call. I've been obedient to that as far as vocationally in that call, as far as doing youth ministry. I've done it paid and unpaid since I was 18 years old, and I'm now 34, so about 16 years as I still work for a church. But my biggest call, not to sound cheesy, is before my vocation is to walk and journey with my family and be a present dad. Not that I am the ultimate minister to my children and my wife, or vice versa, them to me. But I feel like my first calling is to walk with my family and to love them and to be present for them. And if that is being done well within my call, then it will right size itself alongside ministry. And I continue to envision that ministry doesn't pull me away from my family, and it actually enriches me as a dad, and enriches me in how I'm present and watch my girls grow and journey with Christ themselves, and my wife as well. And so that's one of the biggest parts of my call, is to be loving my family and loving them like Jesus has called us to love them. And then out of that flows other pieces. It's definitely tweaked because Paul talks about this idea that there's just certain things that you can do on a wider, larger scale when you're single, and then when you are married, you are kind of not compromising, but you're always having to right size because you have other people to consider. And so that is my call in this season of life too. It's kind of fun because I'd like to believe deep down inside I'm an artist, but just not at the giant artist level skills. And so bringing about the kingdom of God through the form of whatever art I can participate in, I love it. So when I'm not walking with kids or walking with leaders and empowering them and equipping them, the call feels very clear, especially during this season of life, to use whatever I can artistically to create for Jesus, to create and love people and inspire them to pursue more of what God would have for their specific lives. And so that's a little bit of my call right now, is just being obedient to what God would have me do and what God would have me be. So